Star Wars 1977 A New Hope, Episode 4. In this film, we follow Luke Skywalker on his journey from being just a desert boy working the moisture farms, and we get into all of the iconic characters and the world building of Star Wars in the very first film of the franchise.
Yeah, Star Wars is the first film that sets off the whole entire franchise. It's the fourth film in the series, if you're watching in order, and you're introduced to some awesome characters like Luke, Han Solo, Princess Leia. You see an older Obi-Wan. You see familiar droids like C-3PO and R2-D2, who all share great chemistry and make this story really good.
Absolutely. Well, let's get right into it. What worked in A New Hope? So what worked for me? The story and the character building, the world building, it's very good. It feels real. It feels like you're actually part of the Rebel Alliance. It feels like the Empire is this big machine that can't be brought down. They're all powerful. They've got this big Death Star that you find out about in this movie. And, if you haven't seen the prequels, of course, you're just now finding out. This is the first film in the franchise. So back in 1977, all of this is brand new. Once you have seen all of the movies, it all comes together, of course. But yeah, if you're seeing A New Hope, it really does make you feel like all of this is real and it could be a real thing that's out there in another universe. One of my what works is going to be how believable the characters are. Luke, the farm boy, the moisture farm guy, and the people who are raising him, Uncle Owen and his wife, I can't remember her name, but they raise Luke and he's very unsuspecting. He's very young, very naive. And then you meet Obi-Wan, the wanderer, the old crazy wizard that Uncle Owen calls him, and he scares off the sand people with the weird wacky motion he does and the crazy noise. I still can't believe they were scared of that, but yeah, they were scared of that apparently. Yeah, you get Han Solo, the smuggler who's got the trouble with the Hutt, Jabba the Hutt all the time. You get Princess Leia, you get Governor Tarkin, Darth Vader. You get all of these new characters. All of this is new in A New Hope. It's very cool to see all of the original parts of this Star Wars franchise that we all know and love, and the actors were fantastic. The actors nailed their roles, and it was very heartwarming for me to see them all together. As we know in the sequels, we don't ever see them all together. It was great to see them all together again, revisiting this film. That's one of the what worked for me. The world building, seeing Tatooine, Mos Eisley. You'll never see more villainy and scum in Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
And you get the Death Star. You get to see the inner workings of the Death Star, the Star Destroyers. All of it is really cool. You don't get to see Alderaan because they blow it up, but it's very cool to see all of the things that we knew already in Star Wars, but you get to see the inner workings of them in this film more than I would say in any of the other ones, which is pretty cool. Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, iconic. He's like, if you strike me down, I'll be more powerful than you could ever imagine. And he knows he's going to become a Force ghost. He knows he's going to be able to help Luke through the Force. It's very cool. So that would be my what worked in this film.
Yeah, those are great points. That's also what worked for me, is how well the characters work together. You mentioned that, but it's really fun to watch. They're really good together. I don't know if it was just better acting.
Good acting, good directing. I don't know what it was, but it worked.
It really worked.
100% works.
You feel connected to these characters. The only characters that you should be familiar with at this point, coming from the prequels, would be Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. I guess, Princess Leia and Luke were babies, infants.
Mm-hmm.
So you know who they are, but you meet the main ensemble, in my opinion, the main
The
Star
trio,
Wars.
yeah.
The
Absolutely.
trio. And like you said, they worked so well together. They carried this whole story.
Oh, 100%. All right, well, let's get into what didn't work of Star Wars A New Hope. This is made in 1977, so we can't be too hard on it for the technology that they had. Some of the action is a little slower paced. The lightsaber fight is not choreographed, super crazy. It's not like the prequel lightsaber fights by any means. Very short, very slow moving. Even the fighting scenes in the starships are a little slow. And then this is all practical effects for the most part, but they did add CGI in later on. So if you're viewing it nowadays, there's a lot of CGI added by George Lucas. He wanted to make the world feel more full, and at the time they didn't have the capability of doing that. So I can't knock it too hard for that, but it's a little slow. It's a little not as intense as I'd like it to be, but we're spoiled with today's technology and other Star Wars films that have that intensity. Other than that, I just, the CGI characters This is every Star Wars film, right? The CGI characters added in are just a little, I don't love them. But other than that, I don't really have a lot. There's no real hate on this movie. Just some little things.
So for me, it just moves a little slow in the beginning. It does take a little bit of time to really take off. They're world building, they're kind of setting the scene. And for me, it seemed to drag a little bit before you got into the real exciting stuff, but it's very minor. You can look
Very
past
minor.
it. Very minor because the whole story is good, especially coming from the prequels. You kind of know the direction that everybody wants to go. So you're kind of just waiting for that to actually happen. And that's it for me. Just a little bit.
Yeah, it is a little slow. I could probably add that to what didn't work for me as well. Just, it just takes a while to take off. But the story is so good that, we're willing to wait.
Exactly.
All right, so standout moments. For me, it's going to be the attack on the Death Star and the trench run. Absolutely epic. Like I was saying, it's not as intense as I really want it to be, but man, it's just so cool to see the X-Wings and the Y-Wings in action, the red leader, the gold leader, and their squads go down, and they're taking fire from all of these, they got a lot of cannons on the Death Star. Oh my gosh, they're literally everywhere. They're in the trench, they're on top of the trench, they're on the sides of the trench. They're really everywhere. And then the TIE fighters come in and start taking them out. And oh man, it is so cool to see the inside, like the cockpit view of the TIE fighter when it's aiming on the
so
X-Wings
rad.
and Y. Oh, it's so cool.
The sound.
And the sounds of the laser beams being shot. Oh, it's so sick. For 1977, that was way ahead of its time. It was super
wild.
awesome. Yeah, I can only imagine. I was born in 91, so I literally can't imagine what you would have thought in 1977 seeing that film. It was probably like completely next level. Yeah, the trench run is absolutely sick. And then you see the insides of the cockpit of the X-Wings, and sometimes it'll go to a view as if you were at like the outside of the X-Wing, and it's like going down the trench run, going from side to side, like trying to level out. That I thought that was
So
really
cool.
cool. Makes you feel like you're there. It's super awesome. And then, Vader gets in his ship and he grabs 2 TIE fighters to follow him, and, Vader, Anakin's piloting skills on display as Darth Vader for the first time, and I believe the only time in the franchise that he's piloting and taking down rebels in their ships. And he's still got it. Anakin is a great pilot. And Luke is also a great pilot, so that's why he struggles he even says the Force strong with this one. So he kind of knows, like, this pilot's good, man. He's almost as good as me. Yeah, it's just so sick when Vader locks on. He's like, I have you now. And then you see the Millennium Falcon come flying down. He's like, whoa, I got you, Luke. And then, oh, so sick, man. And then Vader goes tumbling off. And where does he go? Where does he even go after that happens?
I don't think, we don't know. He just goes.
He just kind of, disappears off into the universe. And then, Luke nails the shot. Just so epic. And everyone's so stoked at the end. And they're so happy. You can literally feel the happiness through the screen. You can feel the chemistry of the characters through the screen. It's so awesome. That's my standout moment.
That's a good one. That's one of the 2 that I would have picked. The other one being the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. And the reason it stands out so much for me is the brotherhood that Obi-Wan and Anakin had turned into this rivalry of sorts between Obi-Wan and now Darth Vader. It's just really powerful. Now, the fight itself, kind of as you said, was a little bit slow and the choreography was lacking. It was still wild for 77, but compared to the fights that they were having in the prequels, you're almost like, well, what happened?
Spoiled with the prequels. The
Yeah,
lightsaber fights in the prequels have ruined any new one that comes out. And they were too good.
So you have to use your imagination, but beyond the visual fight, that scene's really powerful. It was a huge standout. I love seeing these 2 come together. It's almost a rematch from Darth Vader's point of view. Obi-Wan's just almost like defending his title. And then Obi-Wan's sacrifice to allow Luke and Han and Princess Leia to escape.
Yep, he transitions to the Force Ghost, and he knows he can help Luke from there.
Yeah. So, that was I feel like that was the biggest moment of the movie.
Yeah, I would say that carries a lot of weight. My only gripe with that scene is the fact that, Rogue One is right before this. Like right before this, the hallway scene with Vader.
Oh yeah, with Vader.
He's just chopping them down and making it look easy.
Yeah.
You go to that and then you go to this Vader and you're like, but it's not their fault. This was first.
No, that's just
it's Rogue One's fault for making Vader be way too badass. Like, for 20 seconds. Then here he's just, it's a little slow, but it's just the movie. The scene is powerful. The scene's very good. All right, so final score, Star Wars, A New Hope. For me, this movie is going to get a 3. It is a good movie. but it's, you know, it's a little slow. It's not one I rewatch a lot from the original trilogy. If I watch them all in a row, of course I watch it. Like Attack of the Clones, it's the weakest of the original trilogy to me.
I'm also going to give this movie a 3. I think it's a good movie, but it's just a good movie.
Yeah.
If you take away the prequels and you're watching this for the first time, my standout moment, that fight, isn't going to mean that much, and it's not visually stunning. So
Yeah.
if you get rid of that, the only big moment you really have is that final battle at the end, which is really cool. It just doesn't move this movie into a 4 for me.
Yeah, that's kind of my same sentiment. It's close, but it's just good. It is a good film, but that's about as far as I can take it. All right, so my funniest moment in this film is when Han Solo rushes down the corridor towards the stormtroopers, yelling, and then when they realize it's just him, them chasing him back around the corridor. It's absolutely hilarious. I love that scene. There's a lot of funny moments in this one, but that's the funniest one to me. That's our review of Star Wars A New Hope. Thank you so much for watching. We are working on the next 2, and you'll see them all on this May 4th Star Wars extravaganza. So thank you so much, and hopefully we'll get some new subscribers, new friends, and comment in the comment field. Let us know what you thought. We'll see you soon. Thank you for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our review of this movie. Let us know in the comments, what did you think of the movie? Drop your score on our 1 to 5 scale and tell us if you agree or disagree with our take. Also, if you have a movie suggestion, go ahead and put it in the comments. We read every comment, and we love getting the community's ideas. If you're new here, please subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Turn on the notifications, hit the bell, and don't miss our next No BS short review. Thanks again for hanging out with the S2S Film Bros, and we'll see you next time.